And I never put a ladybird in my anus again after that. I learned my lesson. So I did, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're drawing something ruddy hilarious. It's a terribly funny, funny comic strip. I don't know if it counts as like a full comic strip, more just like a visual gag. It's not like a pun or anything. It's just a bit of a laugh, a bit of a funny fun beans. See, monkey in a tree, oh happy monkey, and then a man hanging by his penis going, ah, I'm a penis. See, that's his penis. So shall I talk about my artistic process? About coming up with such a hilarious bloody image. Basically, I literally just had the visual image in my head of a monkey like that and then a man in the exact same sort of position, but it's his penis instead of a tail, yeah. So that's where that came from. I wrote it down. I wrote it on a post-it note. Where's the post-it note? Monkey tree penis. And that became well, you know, it's not, I wouldn't classify it as my best work, but it's just a funny bit of fun. Funny fun. I am a funny human after all. I'm a funny person. At college, I was once called a cunt, but a funny cunt. That's how they phrased it. They said he's a cunt, but he's a funny cunt. And I think that's a good thing to take, with you through life, is that you can be a great piece of shit. You can be an absolute sweltering knobhead, great big fucking cock of a person. But if you're actually funny, people might be okay with it. They might not be. It depends what you're doing, as far as being a cock goes. Just be funny with it all. That's what I say. Just draw a man hanging from a tree by his penis. Of course, what will happen is you'll get all the feminists, the feminazis, saying, "Oh, that's how we should treat men. String them up by their fucking cocks, have them screaming in agony, and they can learn what it's like to, I don't know. Oh, you don't know what it's like to wear a bra all day and booby boo. Sanitary towels are so expensive. Wee." To be fair, they are. I had to buy some for my girlfriend back when I had a girlfriend many moons ago. I was buying her sanitary towels, to be kind, and I was like, they cost fucking how much? I'm not even currently employed. How am I supposed to afford these fucking sanitary towels? And then I took them up to the checkout, put them on the thing, and I said, "Hello, I'm on my period, so I'm buying sanitary towels." And the lady said nothing, and she rung up the thing, and I paid. Which is an important thing to note, actually, because there's this whole thing of like, I guess there's a couple of examples. One example is buying hilarious items at a checkout and then, watching the reaction of the person who works there. And the items are like, a cucumber and condoms and Vaseline. Vaseline, by the way, doesn't actually work as lube, so I don't know why that's always the thing people use for like a joke as lube. Vaseline, it makes things sticky, if anything, especially with regards to skin. It doesn't lubricate anything at all. That's one example, is buy the funny things and, buy a hammer and 18 tubs of butter and talk about how you're going to hammer butter into your arsehole all night long. And yeah, watch for the funny reactions. The other thing is to go to, like a drive-through window and, order in a funny way and make a funny voice or do something funny. The problem, of course, is, having worked in retail, I can attest to this, is on the one hand, the person might get the joke, but ultimately not care because their business it's their job to just put you through and get you on and get the next customer in. So if you buy funny items, ultimately they don't care. They're just, their job is to just ring it up, whatever it is. Because they've probably had people buy far worse than that. I bought 2 axes and a hammer in a hardware store once, and the woman went, and then rung it up, and I paid and I left. She could have said, why the fuck do you need 2 axes and a hammer? And I'd have said, to kill children. The all-girls school down the road. Let's bring that thing up again. It's been sadly very quiet during the whole quarantine thing, Stands to reason, really. Probably for the best. I don't know why I went off on that rant about being funny at retail workers. I think it's because ultimately just leave them alone. They're doing a job. Well, I'm going to go and be funny to this retailer. Just leave them alone. Maybe. Or don't. Fucking shoot them. Fucking kill them all. I don't give a shit. Wait till they get up to take their lunch break and then walk up behind them and strangle them with a coat hanger or something. I don't know. Give a shit. I fucked up the hands here. I didn't know which fucking direction to make them go. So I might... Oh, I should just actually get them out of the way, shouldn't I, really? See, my issue when I draw things like this is I want it to be relatively anatomically correct. So you can see I put the muscles in here, the ankles and shit, when more often than not, especially for a stupid little comic, you're probably far better off just, having this arm here, just a straight line, just straight lines, because you don't really need all that much detail, do you? Yeah, I think this is going to look okay when it's done-zoed. Yeah, I'll do the hands just simple like that. That'll work. Maybe. How are you all doing? How are you? Oh, that looks atrocious. I don't like that at all. I don't like it. I don't like the stupid little pointy fingers. What have I done? I've ruined it. I might be able to. Hey. So how have you all been? Are you doing well, keeping safe in quarantine land? Or whatever it might be that you're staying during this time. I've been working on a few things. I'll have things to show soon. This is just an in the meantime sort of thing, a bit of filler. Yeah. While I work on other things. I had this idea for a comic. I thought I'd draw it. And I drew the monkey. And then I was like, oh, I've got to do my podcast anyway. I'll fucking do this in the podcast. So now I'm doing this in the podcast. Because why? Why the piss not? Because now I'm trying to draw it exactly the same, but it's very difficult to do things like that, which is why it's hard to draw comics anyway. Trying to keep things looking consistent throughout. As if I haven't fucking harped on about all that shit enough already. Let's put some squirts coming out of his pee-pee. Just to emphasise that it is in fact a pee-pee. And not a tail, as if people had tails anymore. See? Because they used to. Well, not really. They didn't used to. They are, derived from creatures that probably had tails or something. This fella's stuck in a tree. Imagine being stuck in a tree by your bell end. Be far less than comfortable, I imagine. Shall I do a tutorial on how to draw a man hanging from a tree by his ween? Nah, it's not really worth the effort, is it? A couple of things you may or may not have noticed is I'm working on a couple of series of videos on my YouTube channel at the moment. A series of drawing with, wherein each episode I draw with a different material. I've done Sharpies, Copic markers, and I just did a pen I was sent from Japan, a 3-coloured pen. So that can go for as long as I don't run out of shit to draw with, which I'm sure there's, plenty of shit out there. I might just go to the store, buy a random packet of pens and go, I draw with a pen. I've got a few ideas for that, so that should be quite good. Cheaper pens, expensive pens, pens you wouldn't normally draw with. Maybe I'll use pencils, who knows? And also a series which I just started called Art Of, wherein I look at the art of artists I admire, my inspirations and influences. Quite a few people ask about them anyway. Who inspires you? And I did do a podcast all about that. Podcast 45, I believe it was, if you want to look it up, if you've not seen it already, where I went through a load of my sort of comic book, I was about to say heroes, yuck, influences and inspirations. Artists I admire for their artistic art. And again, I just wanted to sort of, if nothing else, it's an excuse for me to go through my art books and just look at them and go, ooh, pretty. But also, to show a bit more in depth some of the artists I really like. Some of them I didn't show in that video, in that podcast. So some of them will be new. Show off some art books, look at some art. Get inspired to create. I just spat a little bit on my thing. I spit on my thing quite often, as it happens. Best kind of lube there is. And again, that's quite a lot of content right there, potentially. We've got at least sort of 7 or 8, possibly 10 artists I could use. But so certain artists I've got loads of books by, and another artist I've got a few books by. So, I can mix and match. If nothing else, it'd be fun for me, fun videos to make. Just sit talking about artists that I like and why I like them. And if there's anything I don't like about them, because sometimes there's artists that I really like some of their stuff, but not so much other stuff. So that could be an interesting thing to look at. Maybe compare them to certain other artists and, talk about how they've influenced me in my style and such. In case it's not obvious where I've just blatantly stolen ideas from. Which sometimes, and this happens in general, it's like a thing I'm aware of that just happens, where you build up this, you take in so much information, you build up this whole library of stuff, this back catalogue of things you've seen in your life. And then you don't necessarily readily recall it all, but you might pull shit out without realising. And there's certain things I've seen looking through art books recently where I've gone, oh shit, I completely ripped off this idea or that idea or this colour scheme or that style of a thing without realising. It wasn't an active decision to, I'm going to draw this in this way or this colour or whatever. But it was in my head to go, that's an interesting, way of doing it, so I'll do it that way. And then I look back and go, oh, I completely stole that idea from this artist. I hope they don't see and that I get away with it, and then I'll carry on doing it. Stealing things is good. Do it all the time. Piracy, I like it. And that's all I've got to say on that. Apparently, I can't think of anything else to say about it. But just be funny, be a cunt, be a funny cunt. But then don't actually. But that's the thing. See, it's funny to come across as a bit of a cunt, but then ultimately be a nice person. But if you're just straight up a cunt who tells funny jokes, then it's like, yeah, you're funny, but you're actually legitimately a cunt. That's probably... I feel like I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Bear with me. God. I think I'm okay. Close call, folks. Close call. We're okay. We survived it for now. Oh, second wave. I should blow my nose instead of sucking it all in, I know, but there's lots of things I should be doing that I'm not. Like, you know, showering, brushing my teeth, eating healthily, getting regular exercise. Searching for meaningful relationships in my life. Fuck that shit. Who needs it? Fucking wasting my time. I'm busy drawing comics and shit. Got time for relationships. Hey, we should go out sometime. Fuck you, bitch. I'm drawing Spider-Man. Oh my god, you're getting paid to draw Spider-Man? Well, no. Sort of for fun, in the hopes that I might get paid for it one day. Oh. So you just sit around drawing Spider-Man for fun? Yeah, pretty much. This little ball bag. Yeah, nice and red. No, it just looks weird. Oh. His lips look weird. Like that. His toes nice and pinky pink. Like I said before in whatever video it was I was talking about it. The extremities are richer in colour owing to circulation, blood flow, and shit, and piss, and farts, and snot, and fannies, and pants, and bras, and creamy vaginal excretions. Should we take a break for now? Whilst looking through art books and such, I came across something that I'd been looking for, but I didn't know where it was, and then I found it, which was this. It's an issue of Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, Sanctum, drawn by Mike Mignola of Hellboy. Now, even if it didn't say Mignola, you can look at that and sort of go, that looks like it was drawn by the guy who drew Hellboy. And you'd be fucking correct, because it is. I thought we'd take a little look through it, because it's been a while since I read it, but I do recall, look how old that is. Man, that was a film. That's the whole 3 shells in the bathroom film, isn't it? 93. I did have a certain opinion on this after I read it. So, I mean, let's just read a comic. I can't see a damn thing now, you Drood. Oh, I can't see a damn thing. Now you, Drood, you had vision. You have vision, or you will have. You are the eye, Drood. You're the all-seeing eye. Me, I'm nothing. Not your eye, not even your hand. I'm your finger, Drood. You are your eye. Open your eye, Drood. Come watch me. He's painting some shit with blood. Watch your finger, open your eye. Don't know what the fuck this. He's in a cemetery. He's doing some shit. That's enough, louder. Oh, I should do the Batman voice. Oh, Batman. That's enough, louder. It ends tonight, Sanctum. Boom. Bats. classic Mignola cemetery, mausoleums, statues, angels, headstones, dog, contrast, you know, construction, all of it. Just brilliant. Don't come near me, man. Go home with your family. I got all the blood I need. Some creepy guy, all eerie Batman eyes. Drop the knife, Lowther. No. Damn you, drop it. Crack. Whack, thack. Oh, he drops the knife. It's my knife. He catches the knife. And I'm not done with it. Fletch. He stabs Batman. Ah. Oh. He stabbed him. Slitch. Pock. He stabbed him again. You know how much I need? How hard I work to get it? You think blood grows on trees? Throws him onto this fucking thing. Crack. Well, believe me, it don't. He can pick up Batman? Jesus. Strong fucking guy. Oh, all this sneezing and dripping out of my nose and shit. Pardon me, folks. No, no, not again. You won't escape to kill again. Louder behind you. He kicked him, and he kicked him onto a fucking spiked fence. Ah, slunk. Why, Louder? Why the blood? And why here? Wump. He fell through this mausoleum thing that he was thrown onto. He fell right through. There's his hand. Wump. He fell through. Smoke, dead bodies and shit. Oh, there he is, looking dead on a coffin. Imagery, again, Mike Mignola at it. Perfect. This is cool. Where's Lowther? And where am I? Where am I? Cool scenery and shit. Good mix of lights and darks. Very good shit. That mausoleum roof collapsed, but I know it didn't land here. This place, there's like a museum, a Victorian indulgence. Ooh, look how grand. He fell into that sort of, you know, dead person's house. But it turns out to be a huge fucking thing. Unchanged and unlived in, but I suspect, says the bat. Not uninhabited. Ooh. Make yourself comfortable, my hero. There is plenty to share between us for now, though that condition is like as not to be a fleeting one. Whatever. Share? Plenty of what to share? Why, blood, of course. You have a generous and noble nature. I only wish we had more time to get acquainted. I am Osric Drood. Ooh, that's the name of the guy this guy was talking about earlier. What is this place? Where's Lowther? I fear the fence spikes were too much for his weary frame to accommodate. Novice Lowther has gone on to his final resting place. He's fucking dead, he is. Creepy dead guy. Ooh. Got to give it to Mignola. He's good at the creepy dead guys. As have you, my hero. Oh no, Batman's fucking dead. What? I'm not dead. Softly, my hero. It should be a quiet time, this, as we pass on our respective journeys to darkness and light. Go to hell. That's a really cool shaped fist. That's really nicely done. Oh, he just fell down. Curious, this defiance, when it is your own blood, your murderous blood, that does sustain me even now. Look at him, stabbed in the thing. He's dead on the... There's a skull there. Was there a skull before? He fell through. He's lying... No, boards. And now there's this fucking skull. Shit, what's going to happen? Murderous. You don't understand. Lowther was insane. I was defending myself. I understand all, my benefactor, better than you can imagine. Behold, the golden age of empire. It was an age of elegance and debauchery, an age of desperate, filthy ignorance, and an age of knowledge. Yet I speak not of science, number-bound and unyielding, but magic. Certainly science had afforded us the gaslight and steam engine. My peers and I, however, in the order of the all-seeing eye, thirsted for a deeper understanding. A total knowledge. Can one ever be surprised by the depths of foolishness found in others, the petty short-sightedness? Had I truly known her, I doubt the marriage would have taken place. I'm certain she would agree with me on this, at least. But having slain her, I knew there was no turning back, and using her own blood, such poetry in that smallest of gestures, I attempted to cast a spell. I evoked the Elder Ones, beseeched them to grant me the boon I thought I could not live without, the vision, second sight, omniscience. Cool, weird, spooky imagery, as you'd expect. When I interred her bloodless corpse in the crawl space beneath our Gotham town carriage house, I doubted my enchantment's success. I destroyed my tomes and parchments, and retired to my chambers to consider my necromantic failings. How my ignorance even then does astonish me. For as I blankly gazed across my late wife's bedchamber, I saw the answer begin to take form. All the answers, for all revealed to me there in the dark of night, were the worlds behind the world we know. Ooh, some weird shit going on. Inexorable, relentless revelation. Believe me when I declare that what dwells just beyond the vision of man, enlightenment. Those harrowing, expansive hours, knowing that even my own madness would not avert my gaze. Can I be blamed for taking my own life? It is knowledge you seek. I, who can see all things, will illuminate. My mystical abjuration was invoked in murder and inscribed in blood. You're dead? Yes. And it is a dying, murderous blood that restores me. The skeleton's fucking got him and he's biting him. Shit. That's cool. Consider this, both my wife and novice Lauthered lie dead, one slain by my hand, one by yours. Yet our crimes are not alike. Mine was one of passion, and has been regretted ever since. Yours, however, was calculated, prideful remorses. No, you're wrong. You're lying. Oh, he's going all like dried up and shit. Am I? Are you claiming that you regret saving yourself from novice Lauthered's furious lunge? Uncommon man, you have an uncommon opportunity. Offer your strength to me. Your life is over. Your mission of terror and vengeance is past. Grant me your strength. I shall use it for a finer purpose. A finer purpose. I will again pursue knowledge, but I have no thirst for the universal truths. My subject of study will be man, not cat. Won't be dead, fool. Ooh, the use of space is really like cool. Use of shadow, very fucking cool. This place, this house, it's killing me, draining me. Gotta get out, catch my breath, outside, free. Burst through a window. Ah, look, he's all emaciated, skinny and skeleton looking. I'll be fine. Fool. Just fine. Oh, he's lying down all dead. The red shock is very cool. Dying. Escaped that house, that creature, but it wasn't enough. He's still there, standing in the window, waiting for me. Waiting. But if you really can't see all, what are you afraid of? Do not presume to mock what you can never understand. I fear nothing I see. Return here at once. You cannot flee. With every breath I gain, use your strength. Oh, with every breath I gain your strength. Then come out of the house. Dead man, even now I feel your blood pulse at my fingertips. Nothing may bar the way. You will give me what I ask. See, he's turning more to skin as he's turning more to skeleton. Freaky shit. My mission will begin where yours ends. I will be the server of justice. I will look into men's hearts. Whock. He's grabbed him. He's punched him. It will be I who decides who will live and who will die. Smacked. Why should I not live again? I who tore the blinders from my eyes as no man has ever done. My crime was great, but no greater than yours, hero. It is not I who should fear death. Don't talk to me about death. About fear. He's got his throat. You should never use tools you don't understand. It's why you built this haven, Druid. Crack. That's a really good shape. Fuck, as is that. Why you've been hiding here on this threshold between life and death. Why your soulless shade haunts this forgotten nightmare. Nobody wants to die, Druid, because they fear the unknown, but not you. No. You know exactly what you're in for. Ooh, mystical, like Cthulhu-esque shit. Tentacles and weird shapes. No! Batman is triumphant once more. Gasp! The mausoleum, Druid, the mansion, all a hallucination? Question mark. Bleeding, all a fever dream, and now, wham! What's happening now? Bleeding, all a fever dream. Lowther nearly killed me. Lowther was real. Could anything other than his madness have drawn him here? Skeleton, tentacles. What's going on? Shit. Boom. Lightning struck the mausoleum. It exploded. Batman's like, what the fuck? Bleeding, all a fever dream. Over. Bleeding stopped, but not the dream. Nightmare, really. I keep hearing Drew talking about remorse over his wife's death, talking about me and Lowther. Not convinced I could have saved him, but if I could have, would I? It haunts me, the nightmare. Created by the insane mutterings of a serial killer and my own guilt over his death, or so I hope. And though the records provide the address of Druid Carriage House, Druid Carriage House? Is that his name? I don't know. Should I investigate? Even if I discovered proof of a 100-year-old murder beneath its rotting floors, what else might that house bring to light? There are newer, more urgent crimes to be dealt with, and some mysteries that are better left unsolved. See, so that was... yeah, well. Point is... it's a neat little story, yeah. It's pretty cool as it stands. I don't hate it. I quite like it. It's a good little spooky tale. Very Mignola-esque. I think not written by him though. Does it say who wrote it? I don't know. I guess it's this guy, Dan Raspler. The issue I have with this and stories like this, which I found to happen a lot in comic books, is you get these little one-off stories, which it's cool to have, like, because that's what I really liked about Hellboy, is that you had, bunches of like main storylines that took up large amounts of book space, but then you also had just like several few page just short tales of just Hellboy's adventures, just Hellboy off doing Hellboy shit, solving Hellboy mysteries and fighting Hellboy demons, and it was cool. I like that. So while it is cool to have like little Batman or whoever stories, sometimes when they're like this, it's like a little bit kind of, it could have been anyone other than Batman. Like that's just a sort of generic crime story. Like, it's not, the fact that it's Batman is almost irrelevant. Like, you could replace that with just, I guess it works with just being a detective because he was talking about crime and shit, but it could be almost any character, any sort of hero character in that position doing that thing. The fact that it's a Batman story is completely incidental, really, which bugs me, because there was a lot of that in Spider-Man, where it's just like Spider-Man, yeah, he's swinging, he's shooting webs, but like the person he's fighting isn't really relevant to him and his character. Where he's at isn't relevant. Like, because I used to love Spider-Man, loved, got loads of old Spider-Man comics, but I got bored eventually because there was just like the same old shit. And that's one of those same old shit things that happened. This is a neat little comic. I got it just because I heard Mignola had done a Batman comic and I wanted to look at it, so I got it. And it's neat. Like I say, it's a cool little comic book. Cool. But, I just think... See, I wax poetic, not quite poetic, but I talk as if I have any kind of knowledge on a subject like that. Like, oh no, but if you're going to tell a story, it should be like this, and it should have, meaning and purpose for the character. It should all be, integrating properly and fit like a thing. And then I draw a man hanging from a tree by his penis. Because I'm an artist, yeah. That's what I do now. Just fill in some of his background. I might do this background like a purpley as opposed to a blue. That was a nice interlude, wasn't it? Shall I do more of those? More like story time with Ewan. It seems people liked my my blood son reading and illustrations. I was quite happy with that. I quite like how the video came out. I quite like how the illustrations came out for being as quick as they were. Each one like 10 minutes or less, or thereabouts. And yeah, people seem to really dig that video, and it would be cool to do more, but that was a very particular short story that I'd had, in my head for a long time to do something with, so I finally did. So if I were to do more, I'd have to like actively search out stories to do, read them a bunch of times, get ideas for the illustrations. But I guess that's all part of it, isn't it? It's all the challenge or whatever, I don't know. It would be good to do. I've got quite a few books of like collections of short stories all based around zombies and stuff. I went through quite a large period of zombie literature collecting and whatnot. At university, I wrote my dissertation about zombies, so it was relevant at the time. So I might pick out a couple of short zombie stories and illustrate them and read them. That could be quite fun. I could do some like Lovecraft stuff. Be quite cool to illustrate some of it. But then the problem with illustrating Lovecraft, I guess, is that the short stories, I don't know if they would or would not be different to the longer ones, but large portions of those stories are just like a guy talking to people about a thing, or a guy is in a dark room and he thinks about something weird. It doesn't seem like there's much visual potential in like a large portion of the stories, until right at the end is when you get like the Lovecraftian horror happen, and then you try and illustrate that, but even then the whole point of that is that you can't visualize it, because to visualize it is to go mad. That's the whole point of like the Lovecraftian mythos or whatever, is that whole thing. So trying to illustrate it seems, I mean, not redundant, but like it's a weird thing. It's like saying this is how it looks, and once like a Lovecraftian Cthulhu horror has a this is how it looks, it sort of loses some of its impact. Even like Cthulhu looks cool. You see drawings, paintings, sculptures, cuddly toys, whatever of Cthulhu. You know what Cthulhu is, but now that's all Cthulhu is. When you first read Cthulhu, if you don't know much about him or it or the story or whatever, you first read it, you're like, whoa, what the fuck? But then Cthulhu, you see it again and again and again and again and again. It just becomes sort of like washed out, and not boring, but by giving it a certain image, you lose what your imagination can create, which is a damned shame. Which is one of the problems I ran into on my illustration course at university, actually, was, illustrate this article, but it's like the article is describing what's in the article. So if you're just illustrating something directly from the article, then it's like, what's the point? And a part of an illustration's purpose is to like draw attention to an article. So you might be flipping through something, see a drawing of, Cthulhu, whatever, or a piece of cake, and go, oh, Cthulhu, or a piece of cake. That's an interesting picture. I'll read the story. But ultimately, like if you're trying to illustrate something, the illustration, I don't know, I feel like illustrations should work on their own sometimes. Not that I necessarily apply that to my illustrations. But then I guess if I'm just making some dumb video of me reading a story and illustrating it, it doesn't really matter, does it? Maybe I should just focus all my efforts on drawing men hanging out of their trees by their penises.